Hello and welcome back to Jody Lewis Creations. In this video we're just going to continue to work on our prototype journal for our file folder folio. And I was giving hubby a haircut yesterday and cleaning out the bag because we got new clippers and there was this awesome envelope in there. So I've just taken the edges off, and so I want to back this panel here that we're going to see when this is closed. So I just want to back this panel with something and then get it glued back together and make something to go in the pocket. So I'm going to work on that and then I'll be back. Okay, so I was looking at my digitals, and this is an Artie Mays freebie that is a misprint. So I was looking at it and trying to figure out, you know, how I could get it to fit. And I don't like that it's not just a singular butterfly. I could do it sideways and then that would fit, but then, which, I mean, that would look okay in here because it would just flip in. So we might do that, or here's another one that I'm fairly certain is Artie Mays. That's how I have it filed. And I thought, well, that would just fit very nicely in there. So I think I'm going to use this one. It's a good neutral and just makes for a pretty picture in the background when whatever's pulled out of the pocket that we end up putting in the pocket. That one's pretty also, but I like this one because it actually, the image itself fits. So this is what we're going to do. So I'm just going to get this cut out and find my glue stick, and my glue book is here. I did clean up just a little bit. I didn't clean up a lot, but I did clean up a little bit. You can actually see my green mat on my table now, so that's progress, right? And these are just printed on regular copy paper, nothing super special. And when I make the actual journal for the swap, it's going to be on heavier paper than what I have this, but since this is just mine, I didn't really care. But anyway, it is something to be mindful of with your, you know, your paper, the thickness and stuff, how you want it to be. So I think that's gonna look nice and come out nice. This envelope is really beat up, but I mean, it's been getting carried around in the hair cutting bag forever. So it's just a little well-loved, we'll say. All right, so there's that. And then I think if I just go like maybe here, like that specific measuring there, just scored it with my, or did it with my scissors there. All right, hopefully, yeah, that's gonna be good. I like it. So let's not move it. Definitely want to make sure that we don't have our edges showing for our window. Yeah, just like that. Okay, so then let's do this. I want to make sure I don't get, well, I'm going to let it dry before I go putting anything together because I don't want my envelope itself sticking in ways I don't want it to, you know. So that should be, yeah. So I'll finish gluing this, and then I think I'm gonna take music paper around the outer edge of the windows. So I'll figure that out and then I'll come back. So I've just taken 3 different bits of paper and gone around attempting to collage around the window, just using my glue stick and trying not to get on the window itself, just burnishing that really well. So I'm going to let that dry, and then I should be able to peel up like around the window. And then what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to glue the 2 sides down, okay, and then make this a top tuck, so it could be like, oh, I didn't check my width. Hopefully it'll work. Or I just did that for nothing, or at least not for this project. So hopefully that'll work. We'll see. And then I tore that because you guys know I love my little, whatever those are called. I don't know why I love them so much. I just think they're pretty. So let's gonna trim around this. Just hopefully without cutting the flap itself, and my glue is still wet, so I'm gonna have to clean my scissors when I'm done. I did try to put this graph paper like along the top, but I could see the writing through it, which really is not a big deal. I mean, I could have gessoed or something like that, but yeah. Anyway, so I'm gonna get this going, and then I'm gonna figure out what I want to use for a card, because this is pretty good size now. And I think it's going to be really pretty, or at least I hope it's going to be really pretty. I mean, it's always our hope when we create that we like the outcome, right? But you know what? And it's okay if we don't, because it's just paper. So that's going to be neat, I think. And I'll have to do a little bit of inking or something along the edges here where I didn't glue very well. And I got anxious and tore it. So I'm going to let this set for a few more minutes before I try to tear it off as I start tearing it off. Yeah, see, it's not, and it could be that I didn't get the glue very well there, but I'm going to cut, I'm going to glue this for added stability for the opening of our pocket here, okay? So that'll just add some strength there. All right, so there's that. I'm trying to think my way through as I'm doing this. I tend to not play with windowed envelopes very much because I struggle like with how to utilize the window well. But this tag was big enough that I think it'll be really pretty. And I think I want to do maybe like that label, that word there might be kind of a cool label. And I'm not too worried about that because I am going to divot that when it dries. And I feel like this is kind of plain now, but I think it'll be okay. Even if I came over here with another piece, even just a small piece, and did something with that. So I don't want to do too much because I don't want to take away from my foreign book page, so maybe I'll leave it. Okay, so I'm going to keep thinking, and then I'll come back when I've got some things decided. Okay, so what I've come up with is I did a title off of the music here and backed it with a piece of cardstock, and I had been keeping this piece on purpose to make like a tab, and then I cut it. So make sure if you're working with double-sided cardstock, you pay attention to both sides when you go to cut it. I have not inked this yet, so I made this journaling card, and this is just some sheet music that I had put the second layer of napkin on. Just it's got a vintage feel. I already had it in my stuff, so I just pulled that out to make the card to put in the pocket. And there's some blue splatters on here from something, I don't know what, and I'm not that worried about it. And hang on, sorry about that, my phone rang. So anyway, I'm just inking around it, and I had, you know, my magazine cut out flower, or book cut out, and then this is a Shabby Dabby Doodah phrase. And so I'm just going to ink around the back of this as well, really quickly. I should have done it before I turned the camera on. And anyway, and so then I'm going to look at my punched out whale tabs here and see what I have that I might like with this. And go from there. Let's see. Ooh, that's kind of pretty with the gold writing. That would give us a little bit of something. I can never get hold of these. I need my tweezers. Yeah, is that too? I might get lost. Let's see what else we have. I'm just flipping through this ephemera book here that's full of these whale tab punches that I just love. And just trying to decide on one. This one's got some script and what have you. That's kind of pretty. I like that. We're going to use that one. Okay, we'll use that one. So I'll get that glued on there. And then this, and then I'm going to get the pocket glued down as well. And see where we're at. I don't know if I want to, I thought about trying to put like a dangle on here, but I don't really know if I want to, just because I am putting this like in the middle. But we could maybe put something on there and then it will hang like over the front of this. I like this to the front, even though the writing's upside down. So I'm gonna just kind of get this page finished and then see where we are on time and see what else I might want to add to this. I'm kind of getting to be like getting my question answered as far as the size of this journal and if it's going to work in the spine, and that was really my main intent, was just testing size. And but I am loving working on this, and used up quite a bit of my Tim Holtz paper, which was awesome. And I know I still want to do some more pockets. So the minimum requirement for the swap is 6 pockets, which I think I've talked about that. Tucks, pockets, belly band. Oh, I haven't done a belly band. I need to do a belly band. Okay. So that's gonna then go in here. It's kind of snug. I almost cut it down some more. But I'm really liking that. I think it's gonna be really pretty. So I'm gonna glue this pocket down, and I want it really close to the edge. On the back, I did just do a little bit of book page and stuff in case it hangs over a little bit, which I don't mind, because that's just going to give that much more interest to the book. But I didn't want that stark white envelope showing. So we're going to glue this down, and I'm going to set a book on top of it again and let it dry. And then when I come back, I think we need a little bit of bling here. But I'll do that after we set a book on it for a little while. But I'll set the bling here so I remember that that's what I want to do. Let me get just some glue here. I'm going to get that glued down, think about what the next piece is going to be, and then I'll come back. So I decided to make a belly band because we don't have one, and we needed one. And I had TV on and was just making it, and I was like, oh, I didn't even film any of this part of it. So what I did is I just cut a strip of the cardstock, and I glued black lace just down the middle, kind of even-ish. And then I folded a book page, and I'm going to put that on the back to protect that seam. And then also I'm putting the seam side of the book page toward the cardstock, so that way, hopefully when we slide our journaling card in, it won't get caught. So I'm just going to run a bead of glue just kind of in the center to hold that in place, and then I'm going to stitch around it with my sewing machine. And then I'm thinking I might just put like a small vellum pocket at the bottom here and put a tag or something in there. I'm not sure yet, but that's just kind of where I'm at with it. Okay, hopefully I can explain this where you'll understand it, because I don't exactly know if I can. So I got a piece of music paper out. I wanted to make a floating pocket to go in our belly band, right? And I need to glue that down. Why didn't I glue that down? Whatever. Distractions. Okay, so I took, this is a full sheet of music paper. Okay, just half. So this is like the middle where it's bound into the book, okay? And I knew I needed it to be 4 1/4 wide to fit in here properly, okay? So about 4 1/4, and we're gonna put a tab and something to pull. We're not there yet. Because I wanted it to have a little bit, be a little more substantial. You know, I have these index cards, but it wasn't quite tall enough, and index card dividers. So anyway, so I scored it at 4 1/4 and scored it at 4 1/4. Okay, so however you make that work, like I scored it at 4 1/4, folded it on itself, and then scored it at that fold, folded this on itself. So this can be a tuck, or I was actually thinking about maybe putting a little something decorative here and maybe just a piece of coffee dyed paper here, or just leaving it for journaling space. I don't know. Anyway, and I glued this, and I thought, oh, I need to tell you how I'm doing this. Then I can refer back to it later. when I want to make another one. Anyway, so I knew that I didn't want to be any taller or any higher than in between my stitching here. So 6 3/4 max, basically, so I have room to put it in. So I just kind of eyeballed it and folded it between, I don't know, 6 1/2 and 6 3/4. It's not exact, so I folded it up. Then what I did was I opened it all back up and I folded it over like, I don't know, 3/8 of an inch the whole way. And then I cut it off of this piece and I angled this piece so it'll tuck in there nicely, okay? So that's gonna tuck in there nicely. So that's gonna be this pocket here, all right? So it'll be like, this will be a pocket. And what I'm going to do with this flap, it doesn't tuck over nicely. It's gonna fold over the top and it's gonna stabilize that edge. So I hope that makes sense, okay? So then this was ripped. I don't care because I'm gonna glue it down anyway. I went ahead and left that there, even though I don't really need to. And I have this that's gonna be a tuck here. So let's just take that at an angle here. And I don't really need that. And I may not need that flap because I'm not using that as a tuck. I mean, even you could, but then you'd have two things tucked into one spot, and I don't like that. So I'm gonna go ahead and take that off. And I am just winging it, so I didn't practice on a piece. So you're seeing me do this like kind of as I'm figuring it out. Okay, so that's gonna glue down on those two sides, and this is gonna be open, and then my little tag can just fit right in there. So I think it'll be cute. Now, I was trying to think if I wanted to stitch this, and I think it's gonna be really difficult. I'm gonna glue this so that this little flap can dry. So let's do that, because I do wanna notch that out just a little bit. So let's take our glue book here, and I just wanna glue that little flap down for stability. I mean, it's vintage music paper, so it's a little soft, you know. And then this one, I'm gonna go ahead and glue this down, even though I don't know if I'm gonna make this into a tuck or just a flap of sorts. But I should have, I'm gonna have to clean my scissors, aren't I? I keep doing this today, making a mess with my glue. Okay, so now let's fold that over. So now that's gonna be stabilized regardless of what we decide to use it for. Now it's got some stability to it, okay? So there's that. This is gonna go like this over this edge. So let's go ahead and glue that flap down and secure our pocket there. Okay. I should have glued that before. I don't know why I didn't glue that. Sorry, I know I'm rambling. I'm just kind of thinking out loud about, I need to put 3-in-1 on my list. I don't like to not have a backup bottle. But, I mean, my whole bottle's full, so we're good. Okay, so let's glue this down because that's our flap for our tucking into to protect our pocket, right? I hope you're following me. I don't feel like I'm explaining this very well, but it's because I'm not sure exactly what I'm doing with it. Okay, so now this is not going to be the right glue. So now I want to glue here and glue here. And let's get our art glitter glue because now we're getting to be a little bit thick. And let's glue those two edges down. And not this edge because this is going to be a pocket. Oh, I didn't ink it. Shoot, I knew I was going to do that. Our glitter glue just dries so quickly. I was afraid I was going to do that. Okay, so let's fold that up and glue it. Okay, I hope this makes sense. If you have questions, I can do another one in another video and try to do it slower and with more accurate measurements, even though the measurements themselves really don't matter because it's all going to be based on how you're using it. So I hope that makes sense. And then this is going to fold forward, but it needs trimmed off. We have just lots of... Okay. So let's definitely... Oh, I don't want to ink that yet because... Let's see. I want to put a notch in that. Maybe my glue will be dry by now. Oh, I hope it's okay that how I'm doing this because I'm just kind of winging it. Okay. All right. Oh, I think that's going to be super cute. Yeah. Okay. So then on this one, I just want to run a small bead of glue on the edges here. Because then that will flip over and make our little pocket. Okay, trying not to glue my pocket closed here. I should have put parchment paper or something in there when I was doing this. Okay. Is that what's going on? Okay. So let that dry. Just burnish that really well. Okay, I lost my pen again. If you guys know, I've seen people use like tiny little magnets on their art glitter glue bottles. If you know where to get those, will you please let me know? I am forever losing this thing, and I just haven't had time to make a new dangle so that I stop losing it in on my table. Okay, and then this, I was thinking I want to angle it so when this opens even, that's going to be notched, but I think that's okay. I think it'll be okay. I want it to be like a tag. No, I don't, because we're going to put a pull on it. No, I do not want to do that. Although you could, but because I want to put a pull on it, like if I were going to tuck this into a pocket, I would tag shape that. I've already had this conversation with myself like twice, and I keep wanting to do it. And then I'm like, no, not on this one because of how I'm going to utilize it as a side pull. Lost my ink. There it is. Okay, so let's get this inked. And I should have embellished this if I was going to cover it before I glued all that, but I think I'm actually just going to leave the music paper and just put a decorated tag in it, and then that tag will be, and then actually you could write on the music page because there's lots of writing space on there if you wanted to. And then here, now I didn't fold this and make this or the top more stable, but I think it's gonna be okay. I hope, because I didn't do it. All right, so I'm just gonna keep inking this, but while that was fresh in my mind and I had not totally glued it yet, I wanted to pop back on and share with you like how I made it. And then of course, if you have questions, please don't hesitate to ask, because I know that was kind of a random explanation of what I was doing, but I was just kind of talking through it as I was figuring it out myself. So anyway, I'll be back. Okay, so I finished the book page piece. Hubby came up talking to me, brought me a really stiff piece of cardstock out of chipboard. It's almost more like chipboard than cardstock. He's going through our RV manuals because I'm going to punch and bind them to make them easier to know where stuff is. And anyway, he's like, can you use this? I'm like, heck yeah. And it'll fit right in this pocket that I literally just made. So that was awesome. So it's really nice and sturdy. So this actually makes me feel good because that's a pretty significant size piece to put in here. And it's helping me with, again, judging that bulk. Let me turn the overhead light on. I apologize if my lighting is not great today. You know, it's been pretty cloudy most of the day, so I'm just dealing with that. Anyway, so whatever. Okay, so we have this journaling card. that can go in there. And I just did I did an embossed butterfly and just a little piece of cardstock and muslin. And this little tag, I just stamped mushrooms. And then tied that bow in just a little bit of a smaller, because that twine was just way too long. So then you open it and you've got journaling space here. And I left the music notes just because I really like them. And you could still, you can journal over that with no issue. And then, you know, if I wanted to later, I can add coffee dye to that or whatever. Anyway, so then that's just going to slide right in here. And I have not embellished the belly band. And I don't know if I'm going to. I love the 3 and I love the leaves on there. So I'm not sure what I'm going to do with that just yet. I'm hoping that my lace will start laying a little more flat. That was the like beginning of the roll. And it was all wonky because it got like scrunched up in the bin. So anywho, so far we really have some good height on it. And excuse me, so we are really starting to push the envelope for our size that I have room for. But it's good because I mean that was a really big piece I just made. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Oh, we need a piece for in here. And 8 pockets so far, tucks plus the paper clips. So we really, I need to make something for in here. We really have a lot going on. And so I do think that honestly, the 1 inch is probably going to be substantial enough. So a question I have for you as the viewer, and then I'm going to wrap this video up, is watching the actual swap folio and me building that something that you're interested in, or at this point, well, it won't actually be at this point because you haven't seen me building the folio. But you will. There are a couple videos that I have scheduled to air. And so I don't want to bore you and make you feel like it's redundant, but it is a different project. It is a separate project. So while I went with this color scheme and this kind of dark, you know, the other one is not going to be like this. So it is a different project. And obviously I'm not going to be doing the same thing. I'm going to use this as inspiration because I do like some of the pieces that I made, like that new book page pocket. I really like that. I will repeat that. But anyway, so I just don't know as a viewer if you feel like that's going to be redundant because you at that point will have already seen me make the prototype, or would you like to see the process evolve into the one that I'm building for the swap? So please let me know what your thoughts are in the comments. And you know, I don't typically say give me a thumbs up or, you know, hit the bell or any of that stuff, because you know that if you feel like my content is good and you want to see that, you'll do that on your own. I do appreciate comments. I will ask for that because that's how I get to know you as the viewer. And I appreciate the comments. It gives me feedback. It lets me understand as the viewer what you appreciate about the content that I'm putting out. And so that I will ask for because that's encouragement and feedback for me. And I really, really appreciate those of you who do take the time to comment or say, hey, I like this, or hey, I'm interested in this. Like, do that because I absolutely will. If you say, hey, I want to see this, then I will try to film that. You know, I do have somebody who asked me to do a curved spine. I had done that for a project that I still can't reveal because it still has not been opened. Anyway, I had done a curved spine project, and so one of the people who were involved in that said, are you going to do that on your YouTube channel? So that is kind of in my mind, how I can just do something, at least make a cover to demonstrate how I did it. So I haven't forgotten, I promise. And anyway, so I'm trying to stop and umming, and then I again. I apologize. Okay, I'm super happy with this, and I don't know. I may do one more video just finishing up the journal itself, and then you won't see any more of this until later, when it's actually an okay time to release, like what I'm doing with it. I hope it makes sense. I hope it's not confusing for you guys. I know you understand that I'm working on a prototype and I can't reveal all the elements at this point because of what it is. So anyway, thank you for joining me. I hope you're all doing well and wonderfully today. I will see you in the next video. Bye.